understand where you are at any point in time. Besides the lessons you can pick from history, there are so many lessons. We make mistakes because we don't learn from history. It's true. If we can spend a little time to study what people did in the past, to understand their mistakes, and to understand the opportunities and how to navigate around them, we can do better in our own time than they did in their own time, because we're standing on their shoulders, actually learning from their mistakes to improve on our own circumstances.
Now, coming back to the same episode, which happened in recent time, the removal of history from curriculum, this was restored again 10 years during the administration of Buhari. What can you tell us about the rationale also for this period? Because this is the second time that it's happening now.
The fact is, it was one removal we had. It was not removed twice. It was just one removal that took stages. In the 70s, it went off from the primary school curriculum. Sometime in the 80s, it also went off from the secondary school curriculum. From junior secondary, first of all, from junior secondary, it was only left for the seniors. All this while, there were efforts to bring it back. Because of the removal, people turned away naturally from that subject. So we're not really having people that will study history in secondary school, senior secondary school. History is a vast subject. So when you take it off from the lower levels, there's a kind of burden at the senior level. To manage that burden, people will now have to choose, or lecturers, teachers will have to choose what they can teach and what they cannot teach. Most of the students do not have the background at the lower level to help them with the subject. Eventually, we were not having even teachers to teach history in secondary schools at the senior level. I recall that during my youth service, I had to teach in a secondary school. And after my youth service, I had to teach in a secondary school, and there were no students. What I was now assigned to teach was government. More people were doing government than history, and government is not history. Government is just a little aspect. It focuses on just how to rule, the way of ruling. But history deals with the totality of man's life. All that men have done in the past come as history. It deals with governments, it deals with economy, it deals with development, it deals with manufacturing, it deals with everything possibly. So that problem made it difficult for the subject to continue. I mean, it could not resuscitate itself, because so much harm has been done to it by the removal. Not taught in the primary school, not taught in the junior secondary school, just restricted to 2 years or 3 years of senior secondary school was not enough to groom teachers. We are still having that problem till today. Coming to the restoration, it was not actually President Buhari that brought back history. It started with President Obasanjo. But to integrate it was a problem. The approval to restore it was given by President Obasanjo. The approval to begin the negotiations and the processes of restoring it came under President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, putting all these things in practice came under President Muhammadu Buhari. So it's been a long process of trying to restore it back to the curriculum. The good thing now is that we have it back in the curriculum from the primary level to the university level.
In fact, my head is almost like boiling now, in that I don't understand how we manage to do this harm to ourselves, no? How can we produce children not to know about themselves? Because here in this podcast, I've talked with a lot of people, professors, and lecturers also in the United States, for example, who are teaching history, sometimes teaching maybe other subjects, or just writer, or just ordinary people. In most of the cases, we have had to argue about the topic of, or actually, the idea of why African history is not taught in the United States. That is, in the United States, we want African history to be taught there. But we are talking of Nigeria, a country that is governed, that supposedly govern themselves. How could they manage to remove history as something that is being taught to the children? Okay, now, when you were much younger, you were in primary school, you didn't have the chance to study history, you didn't understand it then, but yet you went ahead and continued it. You didn't understand the rationale of the government to do that. Now, as an expert, a senior researcher, writer in this field, I want you to explain to us what really is the justification. Why is it that Nigerian people shouldn't know about their history? We don't understand the justification.
It has no justification. It has no justification at all. Over the centuries, so many societies have fought their own history for one reason or the other. There's what we call rewriting of history. Societies sometimes can go through the process of rewriting their history. They choose what they want to expose of their history and they suppress others. It doesn't make for a healthy national life, actually. It doesn't. Now, coming to Nigeria, we are a very multi-ethnic society. Some say that we are more than 400 ethnic groups. I will not say no, especially after a friend of mine from Adamawa State gave me a list of the ethnic groups in that state alone that are well over 90. If one single state has more than 90 ethnic groups, imagine what 36 other states can boast of. So what we've only succeeded in doing is to hide our history from ourselves and to cause more confusion in our national life. The understanding we need to live together, we took it away from ourselves. So many things are wrong. I will not say that there's any justification. There's simply no justification for this. There is none. If they say that they want us to become technologically savvy, what advancements have we done even in that direction? Since they removed history and from the curriculum, what have we done? We still have not improved technologically or scientifically. We cannot claim to have made any significant headway in those areas. So it is not a justification for removing history. We needed our history to build our national life, that sense of belonging, that cohesion, that oneness, to understand our diversity. Diversity should be strength. Diversity is not a weakness, it should be strength. I should be able to say that this is my own strength and that is your own strength. The Igbo are good in this, the Yoruba are good in that. Let us strengthen each other's capacities. But by taking away our history, we don't even know our capacities. We now started second guessing ourselves, making assumptions that are not factual about ourselves. And the expense, we are all suffering it because as a nation, you can see that our level of cohesion is very weak, is very poor. There is no cohesion. We look at each other as enemies because we've not bothered to study and understand ourselves.